What's fascinating about Frieren is how well the characters are written. Each has a unique personality that makes them feel real and alive. There's one character in particular that I feel like I resonate with the most in the entire story, and that is Sein. Although Sein is only in the party for a brief moment in the story, he quickly became one of my favorites as we start slowly peeling back the layers of his character. Actually, it's not that slow since we immediately learn about Sein and his psyche. When we're first introduced to Sein, we see him telling Frieren his backstory. He tells her of how he longed to be an adventurer when he was a kid. He had this best friend named Gorilla, and they would always go on small adventures together. The way he talked about Gorilla, you can just tell that he really looked up to him. Gorilla was energetic and strong, but also kind and caring. They would always dream of becoming adventurers together. But when they got older and Gorilla asked Sein to join him on making their dreams come true, Sein said no. A decade later, and Sein still lingers on the fact that he put his dreams on hold and regrets not going with his best friend to become an adventurer. And boy, you can feel that regret if the first thing that Sein does when he meets another adventurer is tell them how much he wanted to be just like them. He's literally sinking in a swamp, and before asking for help, he tells Frieren his backstory. Even Frieren is like, bro, why are you telling me this? Although he never says so, Sein knows because no matter how many times he says he gave up on his dream, deep down, he hasn't. We find out that Sein is an extremely gifted priest. He lives in a small village where his brother is the head priest, and Sein spends most of his time smoking, drinking, gambling, and helping out the village whenever his brother tells him to. But let's be honest, it's mainly the first three things. His brother asks Frieren to convince Sein to join them on their adventure, knowing that Sein is just wasting his life away by staying in this village. All he needs is a little push to start his dream and live a more fulfilling life. After rejecting Sark's invitation, he tells Frieren that if she's looking for a priest, to ask someone else. He then starts with all the excuses, that it was just an old dream, it's too late for him now. He should have chased Gorilla forever ago. He's just too old, blah blah blah. And then comes one of my favorite parts of the entire story. Frieren remembers when she had tons of excuses not to join Himmel and the others to defeat the Demon King. And she tells Sein exactly what Himmel told her. So what? I'm talking about the present. Man, what a powerful sentence. It doesn't matter what we could or should have done in the past. The past is irrelevant. What matters is right now. Every single one of us has right now to make the decisions we've always wanted to. Every single one of us has dreams and aspirations. They can be something as grand as Sein's or something smaller, but we all have them. And like Sein, for one reason or another, we end up abandoning those dreams. We may not be spending all of our times at bars, drinking, and gambling our lives away. Well, at least I hope not. But a lot of us are just going through the motions while not pursuing our dreams. We work a 9-to-5 job that we don't like. We spend our time scrolling through social media, watching TV, and playing video games. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If you enjoy life and live it to the fullest, then that's great. But I do feel like a lot of us relate to Sein and feel what he's feeling. On the surface, Sein is very content and happy about his life. He helps out his brother, hangs out with friends from the village, and he could drink, smoke, and gamble all he wants. That's a pretty sweet life. But deep down, he's got that itch. He has this hole in him missing. He's filled with regret because he was so close to his dream and chose not to. All he had to do was grab Gorilla's hand and go with him. Now he spends his days thinking what could have been, how different his life could be if he just went for it. He gets asked again and again by Frieren and the others to join their party, and he always rejects it with an excuse. The main one being that it's probably too late for him now. His best friend said he'd return in 3 years. It's been 10. He's probably dead, so what's the point of going out to look for him? Especially because Sein is old now. Adventures usually start when they're young and more lively. Every time they ask him to join, he asks himself, why now? It's just too late. And Frieren, having been in a very similar spot as Sein, responds again with, I'm talking about the present. Sein knows that he should join Frieren on her journey. It's what he always wanted to do. Nothing would make him happier than if he reunites with Gorilla, but he can't. He tells the biggest reason why he hasn't and still will not go. As a kid, he overheard a conversation between Hyder and his older brother. Hyder offered to take them both to the Holy City, but his brother declined, stating that since Sein lost his parents when he was younger, he didn't want him to lose his hometown too. After hearing the sacrifice, Sein feels like if he were to leave now, it would be all in vain. After hearing this, his brother slaps Sein, saying that they are not the same. He never regretted the choices he made, while Sein lived each day in regret. This exchange is finally what gave Sein the push he needed to put away his excuses and do what he always wanted to do. He joins Frieren for a short adventure until he has to go his separate ways to look for Gorilla. And even though it's only a few episodes, I love Sein. Aside from how funny he is throughout the entire anime and the wise wisdom that he gives Stark and Fern, he's just a complete character from the development we see from him and how relatable he is. Now, to step away from anime for a second and quote the lovely Jan Levinson from The Office, there's always a million reasons not to do something. No matter the reasons, we can learn from Sein to not let them make us live in regret. We can put them behind us and live in the present. It's never too late to chase what we truly want in this life.